Internal Revenue Service IRS tax news. Here's how much individuals will get from the economic impact payments. COVID tax tip 2020-40 April 14th, 2020. Employed full-time or part-time, employed, a temporary or gig worker, retired or disabled, receive public benefits, have no income. Most U.S. residents under certain income levels will receive the economic impact payment if they are not claimed as a dependent of another taxpayer and have a Social Security number. Here's how much the payment will be. Eligible individuals will receive up to $1,200. Eligible married couples will receive up to $2,400. Eligible individuals will receive up to $500 for each qualifying child. So let's read that one more time. Eligible individuals will receive $1,200. So they're basically this is basically going by how many people are on the tax return, right? We have one person on the tax return. Do we have two people if we're talking married on the tax return? Do we have more than two people, given the fact that we may have dependents? So when you're thinking about the types of things that might affect this payment, what you need to do, this is what the calculations are kind of tied down to. So let's go through that one more time. Eligible individuals will receive up to $1,200. Eligible married couples will receive up to $2,400, so twice the individual. Eligible individuals will receive up to $500 for each qualifying child. So we got the qualifying child $500. All right. Taxpayers will receive a reduced payment if their adjusted gross income is between $75,000 and $99,000 if their filing status was single or married filing separately. So now we're going to say, okay, so doesn't that phase out if there's some kind of income cap? The income cap typically being based on the adjusted gross income. So let's read through that again. Taxpayers will receive a reduced payment if their adjusted gross income is between $75,000 and $99,000 if their filing status was single or married filing separate, $112,500 and $136,500 for head of household, $150,000 and $198,000 if their filing status was married filing jointly. Eligible taxpayers who filed tax returns for their 2019 or 2018 will automatically receive an economic impact payment. There's a link to that here, to the economic impact payment. For more detail, we'll have a link to this in the description. Payment will also be automatic for people who receive Social Security, retirement, disability, SSDI, or survivor benefits or railroad retirement benefits who don't normally file a tax return. So obviously that's going to be a concern for many people. They're going to say, hey, I don't file a tax return. Do they have my information? Well, if you're participating in one of these other things, including such as Social Security, they should have your information, and they know you're an individual, so they can basically base your tax payment based on that information. Now, again, if there's something weird, you have a dependent involved there, then that could still be a concern because you want to give them that information. But for the most part, they have that. Then there's also how fast the payment's going to come out. If they have your direct deposit, it should be faster, and the paper check may be slower than normal, because the IRS is basically closed down in some departments due to the social distancing. That's why they're trying to get everybody on the deposit side of things. So those receiving these benefits who aren't claimed as a dependent on someone else's return or required to file a tax return are eligible for a $1,200 payment. However, people in this group who have qualified children under age 17 will need to provide information using the non-filer's interpayment info tool to claim the $500 payment per child. So in other words, if you're on Social Security, then you should be okay, even if you don't file your tax return, because you're not required to, because you're under the threshold. So you should be okay, but they're only going to give you the $1,200. And if you happen to be in a situation where you have the qualified child here that would qualify for the other $500, they don't know about it because they haven't filed a return and they don't have that particular piece of information. And they do have this non-filer's interpayment info, which is a tool that they put together just for information that they can help you out with this particular payment. So you can go there. There's also another one on Intuit did one as well. So we have a video on that. That's another tool that you can use. I have had some comments that people have had trouble with the IRS tool here. It is brand new, so that's kind of to be expected. I went through the tool for Intuit, and it seemed pretty straightforward. Basically made a tax return with a $1 in it just for information. So it's pretty straightforward process. So you can try each of those if you're in that situation. Back to the text. The IRS encourages people to share this information with family and friends. Some people who normally don't file a tax return may not realize they're eligible for an economic impact payment. For additional and updated information, visit the Coronavirus Tax Relief page on irs.gov. There's a link to that here. There'll be a link to this in the description. More information. They have other links for more information here as well, including the economic impact payment, adjusted gross income, economic impact payment e-poster. There's a PDF for that here, apparently. Do I need to file a tax return? Whom may I claim as a dependent? What is my filing status? And subscribe to the IRS tax tips. So those links are here as well.